Just your usual Tuesday in Cardinals Nation. A little collusion case where Michael Bidwill, Kyler Murray are right in the thick of things. We'll expand on what their roles as far as that goes, plus what expanded roles are in store for some key Arizona Cardinals. It's PHNX Cardinals now. Is this thing on? PHNX Cardinals is live from the main studio here, and it's Brack hanging out with you. Of course, our guy Noah behind the Mac, and filling in for our guy, the much-deserved vacationing Johnny Venerable, is Donnie Druin, a.k.a. Donnie Donuts, as you know, out here on the chat streets. What's going on, Donnie?
Thanks for having me here, brother. Appreciate it, man.
Oh,
I was just walking past the donut shop, and you were like, "Hey, are you busy at 4:30 today?"
Yeah, just had another dozen for the Cards media crew in Tempe, where we were earlier today. We're going to hear from Cardinals second-year player Rabbit Taylor-Demerson in a little bit. Is he in store for an expanded role in 2025? What's going on to everybody out there? Ozzy, I see Chef, Marley P. Well, he's got a different nickname for you. Look out for that one. Mr. Fat Gangster, Dakota, Pedro. The entire crew is here to talk some ball. And look, not exactly what anybody anticipated when they woke up, when they were fresh-eyed this morning, but Pablo, Torre, Mike Florio, friend of the program, I guess. He's a guy. They got together. They collaborated on a little collusion story when the NFL, they wanted to keep this thing secret, but a lot of that information came out today from a 61-page document that was in front of an arbitrator, and what came of that, and what were the roles of a franchise quarterback and a certain team owner, Michael Bidwill. We'll get into that. But man, it's fun to talk some ball. I mean, it's what, about a month? Yeah, we're officially
exactly
under
a month from the first camp practice, the first
man.
open training camp practice.
That's all we want. I couldn't get here soon enough. But look, we'll enjoy some downtime. Maybe just kind of looking forward to the 2025 season. If you don't know Donnie Druin, of course, you can follow him on Twitter at Donnie Druin. You can read his work, si.com. What's the easiest?
/NFL/Cardinals.
/NFL/Cardinals. Churning out the work. We were talking before the show. I mean, the guy is just every minute, it feels like something hits the presses at the si.com/NFL/Cardinals. I mean, what were you working on today? So many things.
It feels like it, yeah. But between the open training camp, day practices, and a little bit of aggregation from USA Today, all of that good stuff. Got a 3 moves they can make before the training camp starts. So I made it, like you said, it's the dog days of summer, and I don't see any leashes around here, Bo.
Yeah. Ryan Walker jumping in saying, "What's up, chat?" Rudy saying, "Donnie, it's awesome. Shaft 28 days away from training camp. Get here." And then Brack attempting live deserves an F for F for effort. Come on, man. Man, look. You can only try to really kind of do what Johnny does every day and open the show. And I'm just trying to pay homage to the guy. I'm not trying to take over for him.
Highly replicated, never duplicated.
There
That's
you go.
Johnny V, baby.
See, he's already putting it better than I could. Let's get into this conversation that we found ourselves really kind of sifting through a lot, including an over an hour podcast, Pablo Torre Finds Out, where he was joined by Mr. Pro Football Talk himself, Mike Florio, and they were breaking down this investigation that had been done. I believe that that Kyler Murray and also other key witnesses testified in a closed-door hearing that was going into collusion post the contract signing for Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns. Now, everybody knows that deal. It's actually outside of maybe Bradley Beal's deal with the Phoenix Suns. Oh, no. It's looked at as one of the worst contracts, if not the GOAT or WOAT. of contracts in NFL history, sports history. I mean, the NFL is a cap league. It has non-guaranteed money almost attached to every deal. When you saw big, huge numbers like quarterbacks have been getting offseason and offseason out, you see over $200 million, but you don't see the same number in guaranteed money until Deshaun Watson got dealt infamously from the Houston Texans to the Cleveland Browns. And to seal that deal, along with all the first-round draft picks, they tied a $230 million deal, which every single penny was guaranteed for Deshaun Watson. Now, after that, the fallout. And that's where it kind of gets us to the 61-page document where there's evidence that might point to the league colluding to try to get that guaranteed money dialed down for quarterbacks going forward.
Colluding on what? Colluding on what? After that Deshaun Watson contract, there was no way anybody was going to get that much guaranteed money, let alone an entire guaranteed contract.
It was an absolute just clown show what was going on in Cleveland, and it's a contract that aged about as well as people anticipated. Not well. It aged like guacamole there. It lasted like 2 seconds in the fridge before getting all icky and brown. But now you look at how it impacted the players who were up next, and it happened to be Kyler Murray's turn. Lamar Jackson was also in waiting for a contract extension. He was drafted the previous offseason by the Baltimore Ravens, and then also included in this, you had Russell Wilson, who was just being dealt from the Seattle Seahawks. Russ might have taken the biggest brunt of this.
Yeah, Mr. Unlimited definitely got the short end of the stick there, bro.
He did, by somebody who should be in his corner at all times. A representative of the NFL Players Association. But here's how the Cardinals enter into this. So after Deshaun Watson signs that deal, you see guys like the owner for the Baltimore Ravens step up, and he's at the league owners meetings, and he's saying like, hey, there's going to be a bit of I'm paraphrasing, a bit of a market correction, right? Like it really kind of muddies the waters for ownership. This is not something that anybody else would have signed off for league-wide.
Absolutely.
It was one of 32 just putting up some nonsense, get real desperate as far as the quarterback position. And, Bisciotti, he says that. You got John Mara, who owns the Giants, saying other things. And then you have text messages that leak out post Kyler Murray signing a $230.5 million deal with $160 guaranteed nearly. And Michael Bidwill going back and forth with Chargers owner Dean Spanos. And that's how the Cardinals kind of get into this. Also, there's a cameo by former Cardinals GM Steve Keim.
Wonder what he's up to now.
Yeah, what's old Keim up to? He's now the GM of Clutch Sports, their football department. But if we could take a look at the exchange here, and this is via the Pablo Torre Finds Out podcast. It was on July 22nd, 2022. Dean Spanos reaches out to Michael Bidwill, and he congratulates Bidwill on the contract that they signed Kyler Murray to, Mr. Murray here in the document. And their text exchange is as follows. Spanos says, quote, "Congratulations on signing Murray." Well, Bidwill says, "Thanks, Dino."
Love the nickname.
Just buds, right?
Yeah, just chatting it up, man.
Just dudes exchanging texts. These QB deals are expensive, but we limited the fully guaranteed money and have some pretty good language. Thankfully, we have a QB that's worth paying. I think that's the silver lining here. We'll get to that. Spanos followed up with, "Your deal helps for us for our QB next year." Talking, of course, about Justin Herbert, who signed a deal that bested Kyler's in the previous contracts. And then Bidwill said, "I think many teams will be happy with it once they have a chance to review. Cleveland really screwed things up, but I was resolved to keep the guaranteed relatively low."
Good for Michael Bidwill for taking that charge for the rest of the league, right? What a guy. Say, you know what, I'll take it, guys.
Right.
Don't worry. I'll be the one who corrects the market.
I think he wanted that. Like, he wanted that opportunity,
he absolutely
right?
did.
It
100%.
It happened to be their at bat net game with the game on the line.
Yep.
And Bidwill wanted to be the one to step in the box. And, I think I get the feeling, and I'll say this, I think two things can be true. The Browns screwed up the market.
100%.
By giving that contract and who they gave to it. Like there's some quarterbacks that are deserving. This was not one of those. And it really put in a cap league kind of teams scrambling when they didn't necessarily have to, right? But now you have the Cardinals, the Ravens, and now the Broncos, who you'll hear about, kind of in a tough position to where they're going to have to negotiate and have the representation from their respective quarterbacks pushing back and pointing to that deal saying, we want that deal.
100%. I think, not to get too off topic here, but look at like the second round picks, for example. Like 30 of the 35 guys currently in this draft class are second round picks who are not signed because the first 2 picks in the second round got fully guaranteed contracts. And there's a lot of maybe fear from agents or teams that might be the expectation moving forward. I don't feel like that was going to be the case with the Deshaun Watson contract. I don't think after that deal, Bo, where everybody saw Deshaun got all of that money fully guaranteed, that was going to become the norm. I think that was a complete one-and-done situation. And all other 31 organizations in the National Football League fully acknowledged that would never happen again. They would never do that. And if you're a quarterback, seeing how that played out for Deshaun, regardless of what he did or didn't do, it would be asinine to think that you could look at that and say, yep, that should be the norm. Let's make that the market for everybody else.
Yeah, I think the biggest deal, and those asking in the chat about this, like, where's the collusion? There was a part of this where Pablo and Florio outlined that at that owners meeting, there was a meeting with the 32 owners and a management group basically helping them kind of navigate and move forward from this, and that there was going to be the organizations kind of working hand in hand, and these text messages between Spanos and Bidwill kind of show that a little bit. But if you're asking yourself, like, why should I care? Is this overall a bad thing? That's fine. But as far as what Florio and Torre are trying to point out is that this did happen. And also, I think the biggest issue for me is the role that the Players Association had in this, where they didn't necessarily have the back fully for the players involved here.
Kyler Murray being one of those players that I think you had tweeted out earlier today, Bo, that Kyler had testified, right, like last year, August of 2024, about everything going on. And I just think, while that is very unfortunate for guys like Kyler, and it's very odd to me that both the NFL and the NFLPA, who are normally not on the same page, both decided, hey, let's probably sweep this under the rug. So interesting to me. But at the end of the day, like the conversations being had, there's so many people in the chat pointing this out, is that it's business, right? It's business. I get you can't collude as NFL owners, but I just think when you step back and look at the big picture, it just so happened, you said this before we started recording, that Kyler Murray was just next in line. Bidwill said, hey, you know what? I'll step up. I'll do that. It's really not an issue for me. It really isn't.
Well, I mean, I think that there, as far as that negotiation, as far as it's looked at in franchise history, it's still ugly. It was an ugly negotiation. It was a public negotiation. There was the statement that was released by Kyler's representation. There was the mudslinging, mostly from leaked information from the organization that did not paint their franchise quarterback in a great light. That's why I like the silver lining that I pointed out from Bidwill saying, thankfully we had a quarterback worth it. Right? Because that kind of goes up against what we hear often, like year in and year out, like that Bidwill doesn't like Kyler. It seems like he's got a lot of respect for Kyler, is worth it. But he wanted to put his own stamp on this. He wanted to be this savvy owner that kind of, hey, look at all this funny money going to these quarterbacks, but I'm going to be able to put it to where it's not going to be that steep of big of a dagger as far as your cap goes. And like they tried it with the study clause, which was a colossal failure. It's looked at as a black eye as far as the organization, and that language was amended from the contract after kind of a big to-do about it. But and it's unfortunate that this brings that time back to the forefront as far as what we're talking about. But as far as Michael Bidwill working with his general manager, going up against Kyler Murray's representation and trying to work down the guaranteed money because of what the Browns and their misstep, I have no issue with that.
Not at all.
The idea that owners in the NFL need to be their own separate entities and not think about, hey, how can they maximize their earning and save their money as far as towards their cap, I don't have an issue with that. Like at the end of the day, owners are going to try to make the most money possible, and then they're going to think about how they're going to have a competitive advantage. But if the precedent was set, and then from then on forward, it was every time a quarterback was due for an extension and they were getting fully guaranteed contracts, that would put each and every organization that did that in huge, like in a big time spot where they couldn't get out from under those deals.
Well, even so, Bo, I mean, like looking at spotcheck.com, even after that Deshaun Watson contract, Dak Prescott got more guaranteed money than him, $231 million. Josh Allen, $250 million. It's not as if these quarterbacks are not getting paid. They're not getting guaranteed money. Clearly they are. Clearly there's no issue with people being paid. This is such a non-story, and I just feel like it's only because Kyler and Michael Bidwill. I don't. Did you see Pablo Torre's tweet today? Not maybe attacking Kyler, but he brought up the whole video game clause. He's like, hey, like they had to get the quarterback to stop playing video games in order for him to actually like get paid. It's like that's not the case at all.
Right.
Like that narrative is still following Kyler around, and that's so unfortunate. That should be the story here.
Right. No, I mean it is one of the unfortunate, false narratives that continues to follow around the franchise quarterback, and I think potentially winning football games in the future will only help remedy that, but. This where he kind of is a victim in this when we're talking about signing mega contracts, right? And he got $160 million guaranteed, but he also, his number fell very short of where Watson's was. But then it still did continue as the contracts, the total number went up, as did the guaranteed money, but they're never like truly supposed to match, I think, in the league's standpoint. Like you still need to create wiggle room further down the line in these deals. Like the first 2 years of these contracts, like that's where most of the money should be. But then like once as the contract ages, there should be some outs. Like I like that strategy of the NFL, the cap, and how general managers kind of work. They have these workarounds.
And like, let's not forget, Bo, like these are negotiations between two sides. Like whenever somebody signs a contract, there's team and then there's player and their respective agents agreeing to these deals. This is not a one-sided thing. This is not like NFL owners are like, hey, you know what? We are not doing this. Oh, well. The players signing these deals and their agents are agreeing to it ultimately.
Yeah.
No, there's two parties completely at fault here.
Right. Well, look, at the end of the day, the Cardinals offered a $230.5 million contract. Kyler Murray's not going to sign the deal.
Right.
Right. I mean, that's generational wealth on top of generational.
I think he's doing
wealth.
Okay.
He's doing all right.
He's chilling.
And as far as Bidwill, I think we still have a couple more just poll excerpts from the doc about Bidwill. The Cardinals saw negotiations differently prior to 2022 at the owners' meeting, but the Watson contract was announced. Bidwill texted General Manager Mr. Keim, Steve Keim, apparently referring to Mr. Murray's quote, "We're going to load up this contract with so many incentives to earn the real money," Bidwill text. Mr. Keim responded referring to Mr. Watson's then recently announced deal, quote, "Why would the Browns felt so compelled to pay Watson like that is baffling." Rare time that Keim is correct.
Yeah.
Mr. Bidwill testified at the hearing that Mr. Keim, quote, "made sure Mr. Burkhardt, Eric Burkhardt, Kyler Murray's agent, understood we weren't doing that," referring to a fully guaranteed big contract. So Mr. Burkhardt also got the same message as far as the text message from Steve Keim. So pretty interesting stuff there. But I think they were making him aware early in those negotiations, because I think you remember like the timeline of things. Kyler Murray, obviously there was the Instagram purge, right?
Yeah, we deleted everything Cardinals related.
Right.
Yep.
There was the Burkhardt statement, I believe, that was released.
We were at the combine when that happened.
Yeah, that was all caps in a weird font I'll never forgive him for. And then it was tough to read. And then you had, obviously, things that were leaked from the organization trying to drive that number down. But, yeah, a rare occurrence where, I think Keim even realized that the Browns had made a big blunder.
I mean, even a Steve Keim clock is right twice a day, right?
Yeah.
It's just business at the end of the day, Bo. I mean, like breaking news, NFL owners don't want to give players guaranteed money, and players want guaranteed money.
Yeah.
Like this... The sky is blue. Today is Tuesday, right?
Right. It is Tuesday.
Yep.
And our guy Donnie Druin is here in studio. We had one more little excerpt. Let's just take a look at that. We'll wrap up this conversation. But let's see. Kyler's proposal was over 5 weeks ago now. The quarterback landscape having drastically changed with 4 new quarterback deals done since the proposal. Mr. Watson's contract with the Browns was one that made those deals. According to Burkhardt, a fully guaranteed contract was very important to him and Mr. Murray, and Burkhardt believed that Mr. Murray was better and more deserving than Mr. Watson.
I mean, that is such typical contract negotiation language. That really, really is.
Right. Yeah. So Arizona Cardinals, as far as their role at the center of this collusion case, I think it does prove a little bit that there was inner workings. There was, where the sausage was being made with the NFL owners. They were just trying to correct this mistake. Now, we'll hear more as more comes out about like the fallout of this, but as far as how it directly impacts the Cardinals in 2025, they've moved way far on from this. Like like when I think back, when you see Bidwill and Keim, did you ever have like either it was yourself or friends in school that couldn't be in the same class together? They were just a
100%,
menace. Yeah,
100%.
And they, Noah was shaking his hand.
You're talking to somebody who had to like sit outside with the desk facing the other way, brother.
Exactly. Oh man, Mr. Druin outside the classroom, just all by his lonesome, staring at the wall. I didn't know you were those kids, but it makes sense as I sit in press conferences on a daily basis with you. But it is like there's just some people that sometimes not bring the worst out of you, but you're disruptive with.
Right.
And that's no longer the case. There's new people driving the ship here. It's Monty Ossenfort. It's Jonathan Gannon. And I don't think that they're going to get themselves in any bigger predicaments. I don't think you're going to see any text come out. I don't feel like I'm going to eat my words here, as far as, Ossenfort and dealings and future dealings or past dealings. So it continues to be like sometimes the Cardinals, and it's just things were so poorly run before that they still have to pay for the sins of the predecessors here.
Yep.
And that's just going to take some time to scrub all the stink off the walls.
And you know what? The Cardinals are doing an absolutely great job of that. And like you said, like this is something you do not have to worry about with the new regime with Jonathan Gannon and Monty Ossenfort. They've done such a great job of handling players' contracts at a very, very high level too. Yeah. So it's got to be an exciting time for Cardinals fans.
No doubt about it. It's an exciting time to be out there at the facility talking to some up-and-coming players like Dadrian Rabbit Taylor-Demerson. He was out there in Tempe talking to us at the media what the playmaking safety had to say about his role coming up in the 2025 season. Plus, we'll get into who we think the Cardinals will have in 2025, have expanded roles. Bo Brack, Donnie, Druin hanging out with you here on a PHNX Cardinals Tuesday. Oh, man. Yeah, it was a great time out there at the facility. Also, it's a great time anytime you fire up the VMe app. Anyone, anything, anytime.
Really?
What do you know about VMe? VMe,
damn thing.
You need to get in on this, right? You got to download it. It's the first of its kind person-to-person betting app. It's finally an app where you can bet with anyone, anything, anytime. VMe's proud partner with PHNX to launch their brand new way to bet. Wagers can be for money or for free, just bragging rights, but it's going to be done through the app. Bet anything, sports, video games like Madden, Call of Duty, 2K. How about fantasy matchups, golf outings, poker nights, push-up contests? How about chugging contests? You put down a beer faster than me, we'll see 1v1 or group challenges. Whoever's running the poker game, it's the buy-in. It makes that way easier instead of having to chase your buddies down for money, which is always uncomfortable. Get rid of those uncomfortable moments. Best part, no more chasing cash. That's right. We don't just have to trust the Venmo guy either. You don't have to like, hey, let's settle up here. No, VMe does it all. Check it out right now. Download the VMe app and play today using the code PHNX. Available at the App Store and Google Play. VMe, anyone, anything, anytime. Love that from VMe. Also love what's going on over at our friends at All Pro Shade Concepts. Extend your outdoor living space with All Pro Shade Concepts. Their custom fit awnings, hundreds of designs, colors to choose from that match any home. You can work with their HOA always a tough assignment when you're trying to, finagle the HOAs. Like, I just want to put up a nice awning where I'm going to be able to stay cool when the temperatures are high. Check them out right now. Roll down patio shades that block the sun. Trusted shade company, of course, in the Valley. Voted #1 by Ranking Arizona for patio shades in 2024. BBB A+ ratings with over 1,000 5-star reviews. Licensed, bonded, and insured. Call them 623-204-1476. That's 204-1476. And visit allproshadeconcepts.com now to schedule your free estimate. Love that, man. Temperatures so very high in the custom awnings that they got. They are beautiful. Also, got to tell everybody about our NBA Draft Die Hard sale. Donnie covers the NBA as well. You want Suns insight? He's got it for you, along with our guys at GoPHNX.com. Gerald Bourguet churning out incredible work. Why not get access to all of it by becoming a diehard for the low price of $36 today? In honor of the NBA Draft, which is going to be about 24 hours from now, we'll see who the Suns selected 10th overall. Gerald Bourguet has a couple of the options for the Cardinals Suns right now at GoPHNX.com.
I'm sure he does for the Cardinals too, brother.
I'm sure he'd churn out like 40 of them.
He grinds, man.
That's
he
right.
Does great work.
The best Suns coverage in the Valley for the best price ever. Get exclusive content from Gerald. Get in that Discord. The Draft Talk right now for the PHNX Suns Discord is nonstop, as is the conversation about our cards and the exclusive Cardinals Discord. You can get access for that. $3 a month for the year. It's fantastic. Gee willikers, Johnny right now sitting in a kiddie pool under the All Pro Shade Concept shade. No doubt about it. I bet that's what he's doing to cool off.
That's how I like to picture Johnny precisely, actually, yeah. That with a big unfinished steak, right?
Just working his way to leave about, 50, 60% of his steak on his plate. Donnie, we were out there today at the facility. It was Rabbit Taylor-Demerson. The Cardinals are doing a great job as far as getting some of their players in front of the media to kind of stay, I guess, in the news cycle, getting to know this team a little bit more and more each and every week. And today it was a playmaking safety that you did a great breakdown on your own YouTube page.
Appreciate
about
it, man. Thank you.
Taylor
Taylor about the YouTube page,
man.
brother?
Look, come on. You got to subscribe. You got to like this video. You got to check out what Donnie's. You did a little breakdown about Rabbit. What did you like about Rabbit the most from what you saw in spurts in 2024?
Yeah, I think what popped off the tape for me, Bo, is that Rabbit's ability to not only process what the offense is doing, but also the speed in which he gets to the football is very, very good. I think as a safety, the two biggest things you can have is play recognition and game speed. And I think he's got great role models in front of him with names like Jalen Thompson, with names like Budda Baker playing in front of him. We saw it last year in 2024. The Cardinals love using that 3 safety down rotation. I think Taylor-Demerson, both in preseason and regular season, even as a rookie, showcased those abilities far too often to deserve the playing time that he much needed. I think he's a guy who loves to hit people. He gets to the ball fast. He knows what's going on. It's so exciting to see that brain power and then the rest of it coming through heading into the year number 2 where you got the strength and conditioning program. He said today he's not jacked like Marv, but I mean, he's looking pretty good.
Let's actually hear that, Noah, if you would. I asked Rabbit Taylor-Demerson, Darius and Marv, it's pretty clear what they were kind of tasked with this offseason. What was he tasked with?
Getting more mobile. I would say that. Yeah, I ain't get jacked up like Marv. I ain't need to do all that. But I'm already a kind of bigger, smaller guy, I would say. But no, just getting my limbs ready to be able to get in positions this season that sometimes you don't think you'll be in. So just being able to get my feet better, and then that correlates all throughout everything. So
that's what that tells me is he wants to kind of emulate Budda Baker. He wants to be more mobile. And he also wants to put himself in positions where he can kind of hit somebody from almost any angle. He wants to take on some ball carriers.
Yeah, no, I don't think Budda Baker's ever met a running back he didn't want to smash.
Right. And we heard this about Rabbit Taylor-Demerson, like in the pre-draft or like right after they drafted him, is his processing speed. What kind of showed out to guys like Trevor Sikkema, who are great draft analysts, about DTD was his ability to process, schemes, coverages, play calls, playing the safety position. And he's a student of the game, but he matches that up with kind of an electric athleticism. I think underrated is kind of the bigger part of his game.
Yeah, I think maybe the biggest prerequisite to play in the Jonathan Gannon and the Nick Rallis defense that they've talked about it so much, Bo, is we throw a lot at our guys. You know, this is not a basic, simple scheme. Like if you want to get on the field, you have to, number one, know what's going on, and number two, be able to process things at such a high speed. And Bo, you know, NFL offenses, the motion, the different disguises that offensive coordinators can do. There's a lot of eye candy. There's a lot of eye candy in a modern NFL offense. So for somebody with eyes in the defensive backfield, like you have to be ready and you have to be prepared for anything. And I think what Taylor-Demerson displayed early on was, hey, like I got this. You know, I'm able to process this. I'm able to see what the offense is doing. And when you can own in on that, just lets you play so much faster, so much better. And I think Rabbit is the glaring example of that.
It's an impressive room, maybe the most impressive as far as what the Cardinals have, that safety spot. And you include, and you made sure to tell us this, that Garrett Williams belongs in that. Like people think about Garrett Williams as a cornerback, but he's a defensive back through and through. He's their slot corner, which is a position that Jonathan Gannon views as a starting spot for the Cardinals or any defense that he coaches, along with Nick Rallis, who is the DC. But you get a guy like, or you've got this trio where it's Budda Baker, who's the longest tenured Cardinal right now, who could be destined for Canton at one day, right? I mean, he's if not, he's in the Hall of Very Good,
trending.
Right?
He's trending there.
Right? He's a guy that has been playing at a high level since he came out of Washington. And then you've got Jalen Thompson, who's been fantastic, looking for a bounce back with maybe better health throughout this season. And then G-Dub, who's just been fantastic going into year 3. That's a hell of a room. And Rabbit kind of talked about the trio guys that he works with each and every day.
All of them play a different position. Budda and JT, well, I would say the strong and free safety is same as, and the nickel we have in our defense is a little different world. So, you know, I sit by Garrett in our position meetings, and then for right now, but in the season, I sit next to JT and Budda. So sitting next to Garrett, you get to hear like how he wants things to be called, or how if we get this formation, how he wants to hear, like what he wants from us. You see what I'm saying? Because we have all these checks, but like what makes sense to him, what makes him more comfortable down there as well as up top. So hearing that from him, and then just talking to JT and Budda, and then obviously other guys in our room, they come in, all the vets and stuff. Just like when we watch the tape, it's like there's so many corrections. You know, everyone's done something bad, and when I say bad, it's not just like super bad, but everyone's had, you know, a mess up in a time. So just being able to learn from it, everyone in our room, based off on how the other guys act, have turned everyone to our room into teachers. So it's like we can all teach each other something, because there's some things that we did in college that was a tad bit different than what the guys used to doing here. And sometimes it does work, and then sometimes it doesn't work. And then there's things that they've been doing for a while that I've never heard that are new to me that work. And then there's some things that we can all come together in and then find a good solution for whatever we need to.
Learning opportunities. I mean, basically what he's outlining there, and it's a quartet, and it's not just exclusive to the safety room, the defensive backs. That's roster wide. And I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, Gannon is a big proponent of it, is you go out there, you play football, you make mistakes, you learn from your mistakes, and hopefully you're not making the same mistakes.
I was going to say, I think the biggest thing in the NFL, especially for the younger guys, is don't make the same mistake twice. And
right.
I think the communication between the safety and the secondary, the boundary cornerback room, that's important, because those guys have to be talking on the field too. And I love that kind of community feel of, hey, you know, we're not just safeties, we're not just corners, not just slot corners. Like we're all in this together. Like we are one big cohesive unit, and especially for a young guy like Rabbit to want to soak in that knowledge, to want to know, hey, you know what, let me speak up here, let me see what I did wrong here or there. Like that's important. And like the things that separate good from great in the NFL, Bo, are the details. And if he can just hammer out those details along with everybody else in the room too, you're talking about a Cardinals defense that can really turn things up in 2025.
Yeah. And I mean, he talked today, we don't have the clip, but basically how him and the rest of the defensive secondary is going to benefit from an upgraded defensive line. Like you got now the manpower, the firepower that's going to put you in a position to where maybe some average, maybe above average quarterbacks get off their spot and some balls get tipped, they float a little bit. And guys like Rabbit, Taylor-Demerson, like these opportunistic corners, defensive backs, they're going to be able to feast on those.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't seen that for far too long. Like, we haven't seen an opportunistic defense in a long time. And DTD said, like, that's one of their big things this year, is that they want to get their hands on the football, and they value the ball just as much as the offense. They want to take it away, create more opportunities for Kyler Murray and crew. One more part here from Rabbit Taylor-Demerson's availability, obviously playing with guys like Buddha and J2 who play with their hair on fire.
Oh, 100%. They play the game like super violent. Like, I love how the way both of them tackle. I'm a pretty good tackler myself, but they like pick dudes up when they tackle them. So I'm trying to add a little bit of that in my game, pick a dude up or something, slam him on the ground. Yeah.
Little WWE. Love to see that, right?
Yeah.
Look, I mean, you just game respects game, and I like that there's a kid that's confident that he's going to play himself into an expanded role from year 1 to year 2, but at the same time, he appreciates and can continue to get better by trusting and learning from the guys in his room.
And I think that's all you can ask of him, right? You know, the tools are there, the qualities are there. All you could really expect from Rabbit from jumping year 1 to year 2 is taking in that knowledge, just getting that 1% better each and every single day.
Yeah. You know, we did our strengths of this Cardinals team on last week, I think, at one point, and I had the run game, we had the improved defensive line, and we had the coaching staff, which I think deserves its flowers. It's a very disciplined team. They're in the top 5 least penalized team, right? You saw the improvement as far as the point differential from year 1 to year 2. Just what Rollis was able to do with, I think, he do so much more with less as far as personnel. A testament to that. But I think that back end of this defense, with Buddha, with Jalen, with Rabbit, and you incorporate Garrett and also Joey Blunt, who's so good on special teams.
Yeah,
that's
so highly of him.
One of the strengths of this team, an overlooked strength. Actually, I overlooked them.
I mean, I think the Cardinals knew that too heading into this past offseason. Is, you know, we have pieces. Garrett Williams and Max Melton, Starling Thomas has played pretty well. If you look at the safety room, Buddha Baker, Jalen Thompson, you know, Daydream Rabbit, Taylor-Demerson. There's pieces there. If we just get a bona fide front seven, that's exactly what they did. You know, those guys are going to have passes coming a lot quicker to them with guys like Josh Sweat, Calais Campbell, Dalvin Tomlinson, healthy Darius Robinson, Walter Nolan III. I mean, we're talking about dogs.
Yeah.
Dogs getting after them. They're barking, baby.
We'll see who it makes our list as far as for players that have an expanded role coming their way in 2025. Is Rabbit Taylor-Demerson one of those guys? We'll let you know. That's coming up next, your PHNX Cardinals. I love it for Daydream if he's one of those guys. I also love our friends over at Desert Financial Credit Union. If you're an Arizona sports fan, this is the best place to do your banking. No better place to do your banking than Desert Financial Credit Union. There's only a place that can show you the team spirit every time you walk through those doors. Use the ATM. Maybe just buy, check out at the grocery store. You're paying for dinner. You can rep ASU, NAU, the Cardinals. They've got some team cards for that. Check them out. 84 years, Desert Financial has been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union, dedicated to creating exceptional experiences and giving back to the community and providing financial solutions that make lives better. It's unreal what's going on at Desert Financial Credit Union. Their financial experts are committed to making members in the community offering financial solutions tailored for helping real people achieve financial goals and dreams. Open up a free checking account online. Get $200 in bonuses. Get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200 today. That's desertfinancial.com/200 to get $200 when you open up a checking account for free, by the way. Free. Check it out. Our friends over at Bet365, Never Ordinary. It's the spot where you want to make all your wagers. Love Bet365. I've been ripping it up as far as Major League Baseball, and we've reached the dog days of summer, so now you're just going to be on that app looking at some of the tasty little choices up on the board at Bet365. Bet365 has 90 million users worldwide. It's unreal how many people are dialed in. Yeah. They stream 780,000 events each year. Early payout offers across NBA and the NHL. Now, those seasons are in the rearview mirror. MLB, check that as well. You got live in-game betting. Bet365 offers the widest range of games and markets available. Live in-game betting across 78 sports. Check them out right now. Breaking news from Bet365 is new customers get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5. Win or lose, $150 in free bonus bets by just betting $5. Sign up, use the code PHNX365, deposit $10 and place your bet for $5, $150 bonus bets. If your bet wins or loses, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with Bet365. Must be 21 years or older, physically located in Arizona. If you're someone you know has a gambling problem or wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Text NEXT STEP to 53342 and visit problemgambling.az.gov. Love Bet365. Wearing it out on my phone right now. Yeah. Donnie hanging out with us here. Donnie Druin, si.com/NFL/Cardinals. Check him out right now. Check him out. Follow him on Twitter. Follow him on Instagram. And our guy Noah hanging out behind the Mac, making us sound so good, making us look about as good as we possibly can. It's tough, especially when you got guys showing off our legs that have no business doing that here on the live stream. Rabbit Taylor-Demerson, is he a guy who's in for an expanded role, a breakout role? It seems to think that Donnie believes that. I certainly believe that as well. We wanted to showcase 3 guys we think in 2025 are going to have expanded roles and can make some noise after some relatively quiet 2024 seasons.
Right. No, absolutely. I think 2025 is a big year for a lot of people, and the Cardinals are going to need some guys to step into those expanded roles. And Jonathan Gannon talks so much all the time about, roles are never truly defined. They're always opening. They're always closing. These guys that we're going to talk about here in a little bit, Bo.
Yeah.
Not that the pressure's on them, but I think people are expecting big things out of them.
And I think they should. I mean, if you're going to be a draft and develop team, you need guys to emerge. And it's not just going to be, hey, this year it's going to be, and I'm just using it as an example, it's Paris Johnson Jr.'s year to pop. And this upcoming year, it's, Marvin Harrison Jr.'s year to pop. You need multiple guys from previous draft class to take a significant step. And I think that's why it's a continuous conversation that we have with the head coach. Say, do you expect those guys to make a jump? They absolutely do.
Yes.
That is something that they have in place. And they do everything within their power as coaches, as teachers, to make sure these guys are getting better, incrementally better day by day in that organization. Let's start to look at it. And yeah, Angel, I see Angel there asking, has anybody on the training camp, lives in California, kind of want to drive out there and ask if it's worth it. We'll get into that convo. We'll answer that question a little bit later. Let's get to our players that we believe are going to have expanded roles. Donnie, you're the guest. I'm going to allow you to go first.
I was going to say, yeah, you've been doing a lot of the talking, man. So give you a little break from all those ad reads. So yeah, three guys I expect to have expanded roles for the Cardinals in 2025. And look, Marvin Harrison Jr. is the low-hanging fruit. I admit it. I totally get it. But when you're looking at guys who should take a big step in 2025, look no further than the Maserati, right? Maserati Marv. He slowly but surely figured it out over the course of the year. It took a really long time to implement stuff from Drew Petzing from week 1 to week 18. But you saw the hype, you saw the flashes of what made him the number 4 overall pick last year. So I think Drew Petzing, he's a pretty smart guy. I know that's not a very common opinion among some Cardinals fans, but he did get a head coaching call this offseason. Clearly, the NFL believes that is somewhat true. Drew Petzing, he needs to understand that Marvin Harrison Jr. has to be a guy. He can't be a bystander. He can't just be one guy who is, a secondary option to the running game or the Trey McBride, who obviously is going to eat. Marvin Harrison Jr. needs to get the football. He needs to get it often in 2025 if the Cardinals are going to get where they need to be. So I think he's going to have a massively expanded role, maybe a little bit more like crossing routes. Maybe Noah, you have a graphic from his reception perception chart. Yeah, so I did want to pull this up from Reception Perception. Really great stuff. The success rate of pretty much every route that Marvin Harrison Jr. has ran, besides the 9 route, the go route, works out pretty well. And I think my biggest takeaway from Marvin Harrison Jr.'s rookie year is stop making him a 50-50 contested guy.
Right.
Like, Bo, how many times did we in the press box see Marvin Harrison Jr. beat double coverage over a crossing route or a comeback route or something? You know, like I know he's 6'4". I know he's a big body. He's got even a bigger body now that he's jacked out of his mind. But he's just not Calvin Johnson. He's Marvin Harrison Jr. And I think Drew Petzing needs to move him around a little bit more and get him more involved early and often.
Yeah, I think there's more kind of rhythm routes that he can get into, right? That they're going to put him in a position for success. I think get him more involved in the passing attack instead of felt like you're just trying to force the issue, right? And there were big moments. Felt like they were third down, and it was just you put the pressure on Marvin Harrison Jr. and Kyler Murray to just out battle guys, and it's low percentage throws and routes. Where I think you don't have to do that with Marvin Harrison Jr. He can win multiple ways, and those route trees. I think that's a fantastic just example of that. But at some point, like the explosive plays in this passing attack need to come back. They were criminally low in this offense last year. We talked to guys like Michael Wilson, Marvin himself, Kyler Murray. Yep. There's going to be an emphasis as far as that, and hopefully with the improved chemistry and continuity, that you'll see that. And Marv is just one of those guys where the more and more he acclimated he gets, he's just too talented to where he's not going to have continued success in this league and build off of nearly 900-yard performance and 8 touchdowns, of course, that tied the franchise record. Let's our audio audience can't see your list, but you had 2 more there. I'll go with my first, actually. We'll just keep it going with Donnie's.
Yeah, so I really contemplated putting BJ Ojulari here, and I see a bunch of people in the chat saying that BJ Ojulari is going to start over Baron Browning. I absolutely believe that. I'm open to whatever. My only reason why I had Browning here, not Ojulari, is that BJ is coming off that knee injury. What did we ever find out exactly what it was? Was it an ACL or no?
I believe it was an ACL.
Okay,
yeah.
So the injury in training camp, I'm holding my breath on BJ. I really want him to succeed, but that's something for me to where we need to see it first. Baron Browning, they really, really liked him after trading him, acquiring him from the Denver Broncos near the trade deadline last year, brought him back in free agency. That was one of their first moves. They really, really liked the guy. Once he got his feet settled in the desert boat, I feel like he really kind of put some strong play together. Yeah. Pass rush grade was 23rd among all edge players by Pro Football Focus last year. I think at least to start the year while they try to get BJ Ojulari integrated back into the defense, I think he'll be the guy opposite of Josh Sweat. And obviously with that comes an expanded role. Yeah.
And he told us he was never fully healthy when he came over from Denver after he signed the deal to stay in the desert, where like, okay, now, can he get a clean bill of health going into the regular season and more comfortability as far as the scheme and the calls? Can he be a guy that turns, these high pressure rates into plays, right? Yep. Sacks. We'll see, even though like sack is not the winning stat that they're looking for, but they're looking to make some opposing quarterbacks uncomfortable. And then the last one there, you had Rabbit Taylor-Demerson.
Taylor-Demerson, baby, yeah. Talk about the Cardinals love using that 3 safety look. We mentioned that a little bit earlier in the show, but honestly, going back and looking at the film, Bo, they used him a lot in the box as almost like a nickel linebacker. His front 7 snaps, 114 in the box plus 7 along the defensive line, actually outweighed his free safety snaps, 115. So he was more along the line of scrimmage last year in 2024 than he was back away playing that center field free safety role. I really think that could be a more permanent role for him with Kaiser White gone. We don't really know what to expect from Akeem Davis-Gaither. Obviously, there's a ton of hype around Cody Simon, deservedly so, but I'm not going to ask a day 3 pick to start right away in the NFL. Maybe a little bit later in the season when he's caught up to speed. Absolutely would love that. But in terms of the exotic looks that the defensive coordinator Nick Rallis loves to use for the Cardinals defense, Taylor-Demerson was displayed in that box linebacker role a lot, right next to Mac Wilson. Yeah. And I think that's even more of a possibility here into 2025. So you add that on top of his improved safety play, I think he's going to find the field a lot more in 2025.
Fascinating. If could he play a little bit more like hybrid linebacker role? Right. That's interesting. I mean, but there certainly is a need. There's certainly a defense that wants to be multiple. Does that create those opportunities? Obviously, up front they've got those dudes, right? They added a couple this offseason, but you got guys who can move up from the back of this defense. Like it. I do like it. I like my 3. We'll get to them next, coming up here on PHNX Cardinals. Oh, man. So many good things going on. You're looking to upgrade your flooring? How about check in with our friends over at Empire Today? Start your new flooring journey, $350 off, Donnie. That's right. Empire Today. They got the pros over there that are going to realize your flooring dreams. You're looking for new hardwood, looking for carpeting, laminate, tile, whatever it may be, whatever dwelling you might have, house, condo, they got it going on. It's not the big box stores. You go there, say, hey, looking for new flooring, say, hey, I got a lunch break. I gotta go. Right?
Sorry,
I don't even really know what I'm talking about. I was working at Jack in the Box last week. I'm just on my next gig. Not to deal with Empire Today. They are flooring experts that can make it quick and convenient to upgrade your flooring. You got to check it out right now and save $350 while you do so. How about you schedule a free in-home estimate today by getting that $350 off by going to empiretoday.com/PHNX. That's empiretoday.com/PHNX and use the code PHNX for that $350 discount. Also, got to tell you about one of our fantastic sponsors here on PHNX Cardinals. It's Wendy's in their Frosty shop. I mean, come on.
Who doesn't love a Frosty with how hot it is?
Welcome
Absolutely.
to the big leagues, having Wendy's as a sponsor. I mean, we are giddy to be partnered. I mean, talk about just a page from my youth, going and get some dollar menu and some Frosties, fries, some spicy nuggets.
And the yellow container?
Oh,
Yeah.
the yellow, for whatever reason, it's not better. It just hit different. And look, the new Frosty menu over at the Wendy's Frosty shop, unbelievable. You got the Frosty Swirls, you got the Frosty Fusions, along with just the OGs. You got strawberry, brownie batter, caramel. It's fantastic, along with Oreo brownie, caramel crunch, and Pop-Tarts strawberry. Unreal. Anyway, whatever flavor you're craving, odds are they've got them at the Frosty for it. So clock in, sweet treat time anytime, including midnight. Some locations, Wendy's all new Frosty flavors. Refresh on a classic. Got to be Wendy's at participating U.S. Wendy's. Hours may vary by location. Wendy's. Love it. Let's get to my top 3 expanded role players. And I agree with each and every one of yours. I mean, not to just be boring podcasting here. It's like, I agree. But I do. And Marv, it's going to be huge for him to have a big role. I'm gonna get a little bit more hipster with mine. Okay. Right? I go a little bit,
typical.
Yeah. Too
Always
cool.
gotta be different, don't you, bro?
Make sure you drop a like here on this video, by the way. It's been fun just rapping with my guy Donnie Druin, filling in for Johnny Venerable. I'm going to start with Isaiah Adams. You're saying, well, wasn't he starting by the end of the year? Well, that wasn't the case the entire season. Isaiah Adams did fill in post Will Hernandez's knee injury, and I think that's a spot, starting right guard, that he is not going to relinquish going forward. They think that the 3rd round pick is somebody that projects to be a starter there for a long time, and I think it starts now. Why not? Looking at the lack of moves this offseason, they bring in a guy like Hayden Connor in the draft, where I just don't think that is a solution that's probably a depth piece, where they view Adams as a long-term starter for these guys. They like his athleticism. They like his size. I think they like his makeup. And, the mistakes that we were seeing in the preseason that people like to harp on, those are kind of way back in the rearview mirror. I think that this is a guy that's got potential to just lock in for the foreseeable future.
Well, he looked night and day different from the first time he stepped on the field in preseason to the end of the year. And like you pointed out, after Will Hernandez went down, a lot of people forget, it was also Tristan Colon that was kind of like rotating at right guard with him too. But Isaiah Adams played so well that the Cardinals were almost forced to say, hey, you know what? We know you're a rookie, but go ahead and slide in, and then we'll kind of see what's happening there. So that on top of the Will Hernandez injury, I really do think it's going to be Isaiah Adams' spot to not relinquish, like you said, heading into 2025.
I love this. G. Williker saying Donnie filling in with gusto and salient points.
Love that. Words I don't know. Come on, bro.
How about our guy Yuma Drew? What up, Y-Town? I love that. My son just spent a week in Yuma with some of my family, just out there, just loving the desert. Yeah. Donnie killing it. Happy to see him with Bo. We're happy to have Donnie here. I'm happy to continue my top 3 expanded role Cardinals players in 2025. How about Max Melton?
Mad Max.
We know about the injury to Sean Murphy Bunting, and everybody likes to point to Will Johnson as the main kind of benefactor from that. Yeah. But I think it was always going to be Max Melton seeing an expanded role in 2025. This is a guy that they utilized the top 50 pick in 2024 draft, somebody that they love his length. They like how he's sticky in coverage, but they also like how he plays within the scheme very well. Mad Max, I got to think that this is going to be somebody who's going to be one of your more reliable defensive backs who's a little more seasoned than Will Johnson, even though I expect big things from Will Johnson year one.
Yeah, I think the athleticism really popped off from Max Melton last year. You know, there were some mistakes, but there are also some really good plays. And I think for a rookie cornerback, Bo, when you're trying to get adjusted to the National Football League, especially at corner, you're going to have your fair share of mistakes. And I think what separated Max Melton from maybe some of the other rookies in his class was his ability to not make the same mistake twice. And it seemed like he really got better and improved over the course of the season. You talk so much about Will Johnson, maybe some of the other names too. We know whenever Sean Murphy-Bunting went down, everybody's kind of looking around the room saying, hey, you know, who's going to step up? And Will Johnson, rightfully so, is getting a lot of hype. But there's another Big Ten corner who can lock dudes down too. He might not be as, you know, high profile or as big as Will Johnson, but Max Melton did show a lot of really good things last year.
When you think about the cornerback room post Sean Murphy-Bunting season-ending injury, you look at a trio of guys that I think benefit from this. It's not just like just plug these two guys in, because you saw Starling Thomas see significant playing time year one, two. He has the respect of his coaches and his teammates. I don't think he's going anywhere, and he plays. He has a role, but I think as far as your two guys that you look, you're moving forward with, it's Max Melton and it's Will Johnson. You're back-to-back second-round picks, which is good to have. And then I've got a real kind of under-the-radar guy, but I saw that the Cardinals rostered him on the active roster throughout 2024 as an undrafted rookie free agent. Xavier Weaver is somebody that I think that they're not just going to roster him like they did last year without an expanded role this year. I think that he's going to get some a boost in some playing time, and maybe somebody that they look to incorporate not only in the offense but on teams.
Yeah, I think too, Bo, there was a lot of training camp hype around Xavier Weaver heading into last year. Not that I was surprised that he made the active roster, but he certainly did. And I think he was a bit of a special teams contributor too last year, which is obviously how you earn your stripes in the National Football League. And you look at what Weaver can do, and he did exactly that in training camp and preseason. It's that big play. It's that 20-plus yard ability to make splash plays happen and move the chains for Kyler Murray and the rest of the Arizona Cardinals offense. And, they'd made virtually no changes to their group of weapons in 2025. For better or for worse, we're going to find out. And I think some of that, Bo, is the confidence in a guy like Xavier Weaver to maybe make that big step forward and leave that instant impact that he showed at Colorado.
See, somebody in the wrong show chat thinking we're talking Suns here, trying to fleece Brooklyn of
get Nick Claxton here.
Claxton. And is it would it be bringing back Cam, or is it Cam Thomas that was proposed?
I don't know. Either way,
sir, this is
wrong show, dog.
Yeah, sir, this is a Wendy's. We're talking about Frosties here, but I like your passion, and you're welcome anytime.
Love it.
Xavier Weaver is a really interesting player, and I don't think it's going to be the status quo from year one to year two. Like he's either going to pop in a sense, and you'll see some what they envision as far as the playmaking coming out as an undrafted guy from Colorado that they kind of wanted to stash. And then also you got Dortch on the final year of really cheap deals, unfortunately because of his pro accrued time, where he was on a restricted tag, and then he was on an exclusive rights tag, and he's making like relative chump change,
pennies to what he could be making.
Exactly what he could be making. But are they prepared to maybe have a guy like Zay as his successor in the punt return game, and being that three position receiver like Zay Jones and stuff like that. Zay Weaver, I think, also has a chance to do that.
Well, I think somebody in that receiver room has to step up. They made no changes. They're not going to go out in 2025 and do the same thing over and over again. Somebody's role has to change. Somebody has to step up, whether that's Weaver or Jones or Dortch, whoever it might be. Something's got to be different for Drew Petzing to really thrive, and Kyler Murray too.
Yeah, you need somebody to give you a little bit of a lack of a better term, be an X factor. Xavier Weaver, I think, has that skill set. Did he develop into it? We turn to overtime here at PHNX Cardinals. The show continues. If you're watching along with many of our streaming partners, check out gophnx.com as the content continues. I told you we were going to fill you in as far as the Cardinals and training camp, because one of our viewers was interested in making their way over from Cali to check out training camp. And you can do it 9 times in 2025, starting on Thursday, July 24th. Practice is going to be at 1:25 that day. It's going to be the first one open to the public. You got it again the next day. And then after a weekend off, you've got Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday is the famous red and white practice. And then August 5th and 6th, they'll do back-to-back open practices before, I'm sure they've got maybe a practice after that that's closed, and then they'll probably wrap up camp and turn back to Tempe after a week that they'll spend a couple days in Denver, I think, for a joint practice before their preseason game with the Broncos.
Yeah, I think Bo too. Admission is free, correct? You just need like a digital ticket, and just being down there on the sidelines. I feel like a lot of players do a great job of signing autographs, like before and after practice too. So it's
we're blessed to have spring training here in the Valley, but it's probably the best thing you can do to get up close and personal sometimes with pro athletes. Like you like the when they break down practice, you got the likes of Kyler Murray, James Conner, Trey McBride coming up and signing your gear, taking pictures, and hanging out with you. It's really fantastic. And as you said, it's free. You just gotta go get that digital ticket.
It's indoors too. It's at State Farm Stadium, so you don't have to worry about the heat. So.
Yeah, you're not melting out there. I don't know if they do. I never can tell. They do concessions?
They normally have them open. Yeah.
So they got concessions.
They're smart. They want to make money.
Yeah, it's way better. Like I know there's teams around the league that charge for it.
Really?
Yeah. So did Detroit charge for it?
Yeah, I think in certain cases, like I think there were some times you could get in for free, but also if you wanted to sit in like a specific area, you would have to pay.
Yeah. But free here in the Valley, hopefully that doesn't change. And I love the red-white scrimmage. I remember, there was one year, and it was the final year on their cliff. And I'm like, why are they even doing this? It was such kind of a joke. That was Camp Country Club. But when JG gets it, he makes sure that the fans that come out and support this team on that first Saturday in August, that they get a little bit of a show.
Yeah, I think to Shaft's point in the chat too, the music is really loud. It's really good. It's a different frequency of energy. Like it really is genuinely fun to be there.
Yeah. SAG asking if there's open practices in Tempe or at the stadium. They're at the stadium. Yeah. That's where camp is traditionally held now. Tempe is just closed to the media, and oftentimes it's not even open that often to us. I mean, we get like a 20-minute window, and
stretching and individual
drills. We get to see stretching, and sometimes you'll get to see some position drills, but you're not missing much out there. It's mostly to cover, pre and post practice, getting some quotes from the coaches and the players out there. So look, it's fun. 9 practices out there. It just means like now that it's been released, it's getting closer. As somebody pointed out, just 25 days from that moment.
Football season's here,
man. It's fantastic.
It's here, man.
It's unreal. What do you got coming up? Where can people find your work?
Just follow me on Twitter or X, whatever the cool kids call it, at Donnie Druin, SI.com/NFL/Cardinals, where you can read all of our content. Other than that, just trying to stay indoors, man. This heat is so unbearable.
It is brutal. It finally changed like a week ago, and now we're in it. We lock in. We lock in, and we make sure that the thermostat's where it needs to be, and we're going to stay comfortable. Man, math to the power of Joe. Can't miss that professional stretching. It's no, you can't.
No, you can't. you have any good training camp stories?
I know you have a really good training camp story, but no, I don't have really anything. Mine's boring. Like the ones that I had were post practice out at the facility in Tempe, where I've caught 1 of 2 targets from Kyler Murray.
I've seen that.
Yep.
I've been witness to that.
Yeah. I was 0 for 1 at one point, and that weighed on me for a while.
There we go.
So I made sure once that opportunity came up, you know.
But you didn't make the same mistake.
You stay
twice.
ready so you don't have to get ready.
Who said that?
I think it was
Ice Cube?
it was an old philosopher.
Was it?
Was it Socrates that said that? You got to stay ready so you don't have to get ready?
Yeah, but you don't put a soccer ball on tees, though.
Oh.
Just saying.
All right. Mr. Fat Gangster calling me old slippery hands over here. Look, it wasn't a matter of these hands. It was I had one hand because I was listening to my phone.
Kids in their phones, man.
Yeah, I couldn't, like, can you imagine if I just one hand in a Kyler pass?
That's crazy.
Like, get that out of here. Yeah. James Conner was in disbelief. He's like, why are you throwing it at the nerdy journalist? And then the next time, I was ready.
Yeah, upstairs.
I would have dropped so many valuable things. Like, if I was holding on to, I've got 2 beautiful baby boys. Like, would I have tried to one-hand it? Would I have dropped them and put them in danger? No. But I mean, that's crazy, but I would consider it.
Would you be one of those dads at the ballpark that like drop the kid and like catch the ball in the beer cup?
Yeah, gone. Odell Beckham, as Shaft saying.
Yeah, I can't tell the Kyler story from last year, but a couple of training camps ago, I was on the sideline and like Shaft said, the music's like bumping and playing, and like, you know me, like I'm always hype on the sideline and stuff. So like I'm there, it's just like dancing and grooving, and Chandler Jones is like watching me, and I'm like singing along to the song.
Yeah,
and I like look up and he's like, sing that, and then I can't say the word he said after that, but like that's something I'll always remember.
It would probably be your last appearance on PHNX Cardinals if you did say it. So we appreciate that. I think Johnny had his story was he struggled to pick up, an NFL-sized football. He was embarrassed because it came his way. A ball just kind of rolled towards his feet, and then he went to kind of grab it, and it was a little bit tougher, which I can attest to. Yeah. NFL balls, like they put them under like the process where it's a little bit slicker, but it was tough to palm for your boy, and but he got it back. I think he did like the sideline just kind of rugby toss.
Sure, yeah. I mean, when you can't pick it up, you kind of just got to like here, roll it over. Tell me, JV have Kenny Pickett hands?
I believe yes. We had a graphic that proved that much. When he was drinking out of his water bottle, we had a side by side with Kenny Pickett, and he was holding the football, so it was pretty similar.
You guys are wild. You guys are wild, man.
Yeah, there is. When Johnny was putting back his Pellegrino, we screenshot it, and it's undeniable.
Prius hands. Get me out of here, dude.
Unbelievable insight from our guy Donnie Druin, aka Donnie Donuts, who graced us with his presence for over an hour today. Pay for it. Follow him on Twitter. He's got great insight. He's out there just like I am every day at the facility, giving you the sights, the sounds, and writing about it. SI.com/NFL/Cardinals. We got another special guest tomorrow. Johnny enjoys a well-deserved some time off. We got that coming. More fallout from everything that was today. We also have an interview, I think, lined up about that. So hopefully you're not tuckered out from that conversation. Thank you, G. Wilkers. Thank you to everybody out there that tuned in. Drop a like on it. Subscribe to PHNX Sports. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. We'll talk to you tomorrow right here on PHNX Cardinals.
We all silly like the mayor.